Okay, this is the first time I'm doing this, so bear with me. What's up guys, Judge Rec talking to you, and I got a little piece of hardware that I want to show you today. It's the Hori OCTA Fight Commander, or Hori Fight Commander OCTA, whatever you want to call it, Tekken 8 edition. So that you're getting a better idea where I'm coming from, I'm actually showing you what I've been playing with recently. So recently I've been playing on my PC with the Switch Pro controller. I think this one is actually one of my favorite controllers, but obviously the Nintendo notations, I prefer to use it on my Nintendo Switch, not on my PC, but it works. Before that, I used this one here. That is the Xbox Elite, and that is actually also a very good controller, but for some reason, and it seems that I'm not the only one, it actually doesn't work anymore that good. So the bumper here is kind of, it's not recognizing inputs precisely anymore. So sometimes you press it and it doesn't register an input, and sometimes you press it and it thinks that you pressed it twice. So now imagine, I've been playing Grand Blue Fantasy Versus a lot in the last couple of weeks, and this button here is the special button. So if you cannot get your moves out precisely, then that kind of sucks. Same as going for Killer Instinct. So with these controllers, the heavy buttons in Street Fighter and Killer Instinct, those are the triggers here, yeah, because you only have 4 face buttons, and this is where the Hori OCTA comes in. There was also Steam controller I was using back then, and people who were following me for a little bit longer, they know what happened to that one. Okay, let's open this package and see what's inside. Okay, first, this one is wired, so it's not wireless. I have to admit, recently I was actually using my Xbox and the Switch Pro controller as well wired, because I think, especially when it comes to precision, maybe there's still a little bit of an advantage if you're still going for wired controllers, but I guess it's your personal preference. So this one is wired, and what immediately catches my eye is it feels wider than the usual controller. So if you take a look at the design here, it's not bigger. It's not really bigger. It just looks a little bit wider. The Xbox controller is always known for being very like a fucking brick in your... I guess you remember the first Xbox controller. That was a massive controller. Also, what I realize now instantly is it feels very light. So having the Xbox controller in my hand feels much more heavy, probably like double. This one feels very light, very, very lightweight, but also at the same time, because when hardware feels very light, sometimes people might think it feels cheap as well. I don't really care, as long as it does its job, as long as it's high quality, as long as it's working. So, but yeah, if you want a light controller, then yeah, this one actually it's good. It's pretty lightweight. So now the feeling in the hand also feels quite good. Yeah. The face buttons, they've right now when I'm pressing them, they don't have a lot of travel time. It actually feels, when I'm pressing the Xbox controller, it feels like you're pushing in very far. Same as with the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. This one here, on the first glance, or on the first feel, on the first press, I actually would think that I'm not even pressing at all. But you can hear it clicking, I guess. I think those are mechanical keys, yeah. So this is just something also pretty good, if you ask me, because if you want to play competitive, you have to, your button presses need to be recognized instantly, as fast as possible. So less travel time is definitely an advantage. I guess I have to get used to the 6 button layout, because I never used 6 buttons on a controller. But I'm not playing Street Fighter that much anymore. But I'm still playing Killer Instinct, so 6 buttons is definitely good for Killer Instinct. Let's look at the D-pad. D-pad feels... let me compare. So the D-pad on the Xbox controller feels very clicky. This one here feels a little bit more heavy, the D-pad, but it's also round D-pad. So if you like cross layout D-pads, this one might not be for you, but I actually prefer round D-pads. Then you also have your start and back button and a guide button, all the usual stuff. The triggers, so yeah, they are not like the Xbox controller. They are not analog where you can just press it lightly. So they are just single clicks, but yeah, the Switch controller has it as well, so I don't care. I'm not playing racing games anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. So those buttons here, since by default RB and RT are actually here, those two are considered the L buttons, LB and LT, and those buttons here are considered left stick and right stick bumper. So you can still press the stick, but those two are considered by default. The notations are, those are basically what you used when you pressed the sticks, I guess. Then again, you can just map it the way you want, so it doesn't really matter. One last thing, if you look at it closely, the stick actually has, maybe you can see it, it's a little difficult to see. The stick here has, there you can see it. It is not round. It has 8 ways. When you're doing circle motions, you actually feel the little snap, like when you're using an arcade stick. This is just a nice to have little feature, I think, for fighting games specifically, but it's still enough. It's still smooth enough to also work for normal gameplay. So the question now is, why did you buy this? It's simple. I can explain you why. I did not buy it because of the nice Tekken 8 design. Yes, Tekken 8 is coming out and this one looks fantastic. It has this absolutely sick Tekken 8 design, of course, which is awesome. But it has a clear advantage over the old version of the controller. So there was already a Hori OCTA back then, but it was missing a crucial thing for me, and it is a second stick. So if you look at it from the side, you see that it is not popping out like the left stick, right? It is much more flat. So that way, your thumb is not getting in the way. It's not getting in the way of your thumb when you're playing fighting games on the face buttons. I'm not just playing fighting games. I also like to play The Witcher 3 sometimes. I mean, I have my Witcher collection obviously there. I also like to play Monster Hunter, for example. All these games, they require a second stick, right? And with this, you actually have a second analog stick, and this is what this is the best feature on the new version of this controller, I think, because the original Hori OCTA was already a fantastic controller for fighting games, but that's what it was. It was good for fighting games, but it was then bad at playing anything else, basically. If you need a new controller, and I needed one, because like I told you, the bumper was a mess. So if you need a new controller and you're playing fighting games, and at the same time you're playing something else to relax, like let's say Assassin's Creed or Monster Hunter or whatever. Shooter maybe not that much, because aiming with that stick could be a little bit difficult, but then again, if I'm playing shooters, I'm using mouse and keyboard, because I think to me it's heresy to play a shooter on a controller, yeah. But that's because I'm old. If you need a new controller anyways, that is very good for fighting games, but at the same time capable of also supporting you while playing normal games or other games. I wouldn't say that fighting games are not normal, but you know what I'm talking about. Then I think this controller is actually really good. The price is, for this one, it is like $60. Now compare this to an Xbox controller. An Xbox Pro controller, that can cost you like, I don't know, man, $150, $200. Those controllers are expensive as hell. And so $60 for a good controller that you can use anywhere with a freaking amazing Tekken 8 layout. Yeah, I think that's a good deal. Okay, I'm going to plug this thing in now, and I'm going to test it a little bit with a couple of games. I'm going to try it on Mortal Kombat 1, I'm going to try it on Street Fighter, I'm going to try it on Dead or Alive 6, I'm going to try it on Killer Instinct, and then I'm going to try it on Monster Hunter Rise 1 hour later. Alright, so I tested the controller with a couple of games. First and foremost, Killer Instinct works very good. So Killer Instinct feels very good playing with this controller, which is important for me because I like to play Killer Instinct. Granblue is a game that I'm playing a lot recently, and Granblue works as well, very good. I had to make a couple of adjustments because of the triggers, yeah. So, but that was not a big deal. I could just change it in the game and it works perfectly fine. You can play Granblue exactly like with any other controller, with any Xbox controller, for example, or Nintendo Switch controller, which I did. Another game that worked really well was Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive 6 was totally fine with the stick and with the D-pad, so no issues there as well. Then I tried Monster Hunter Rise and The Witcher 3. Monster Hunter Rise and The Witcher 3, you definitely want to change the controls a little bit because it can feel a little bit awkward at first, but at the same time, if you just remap the controls, it is totally fine. You can play these games with this controller. So what I noticed is when you're trying to use both sticks, it feels a little bit off. So that's because the second stick, the right stick, is not where it usually is, like more to the right. It is actually much more in the middle on this controller. That is because the primary objective of this controller is having the face buttons easy accessible, while having the stick is just more like an extra tool to have. So it works, but it is, let's say, not optimal. But that's totally fine. If you're just using the stick for camera controls like I do, I'm fine. I don't have any problems with it. I also tried Street Fighter. You can see that, especially with World Tour mode, Street Fighter is much easier to play with the modern control layout, and you can totally do that. But at the same time, if you want to play classic controls with the three face buttons, it's absolutely possible, and it works quite well. So what about Tekken then? Well, I'm playing Tekken with this bad boy here. This is the Hori Alpha arcade stick. So I'm going to play Tekken 8 not with the Tekken 8 controller, which might surprise some people, but I prefer the arcade stick on a game like Tekken. One last thing about claw grip. So if you plan on using claw grip, if you're a claw grip player, that means you hold the controller like this and then press the face buttons from above, right? In a more classic arcade stick traditional way. That totally works as well, because the face buttons, they are a little bit bigger than on the standard Xbox controller. If you have a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, then you can kinda know what you're into, because the Nintendo Switch controller has kinda the same size of face buttons. I think claw grip works better with this controller than with an Xbox controller. So there you have it. Is this controller good for you? That's now the question. So if you want a solid controller, like a good controller, and don't want to spend 150 or 200 on massive expensive hardware, then the Hori products are always quite good. They're not too expensive. It comes with a deficit, but the deficit is more like in the feel. So because they use a lot of plastic, it is very lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy, which can also be a thing that a lot of people actually prefer. So some people might say it feels cheap. The other person can say, yeah, but I like it that it doesn't weigh that much. It's easy to handle. It's lightweight. So if you like lightweight controllers that do their job on any other game, and your primary objective is to play fighting games, I think this controller is one of the best controllers you can get right now. It is a natural upgrade from the original Hori OCTA. With the right stick, you can actually use it as a normal controller as well on other games you play, and for a fighting game controller, this one is probably one of the best ones you can get. And the Tekken design, the Tekken 8 design, just rounds it up. It looks pretty sick if you ask me. And yeah, by the way, I'm not sponsored or anything by Hori, so I just got it myself, and I think it is also quite sold out right now. So if you want to get one, I saw some scalpers on eBay already, so if you want to get one, I highly advise to get it soon, in case you really want this controller, because it could be sold out already. And I'm not a fan of scalpers, so yeah, but that's the only option you're probably left with right now, because when I checked it out, it was already sold out on Amazon. I had to get mine from GameStop. I'm still waiting for my Tekken 8 for my collector's edition. But once it's there, I'm going to record a video for the collector's edition as well. So if you want to see the unboxing of the Tekken 8 Premium Collector's Edition, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care.